Hello Graphite Knights, and in this video I figured I would walk through this graphic novel panel with you. It's a whole page we're working on. This is the introduction to the Ruins of Lentalk, and I figured we'd talk about what we're doing to make it even better. So as you can see, the knight is riding the Gryphon toward the castle entrance. He's going to land down on the bridge there. We have a nice thunk I've already inserted. I'm loving that. I think that's pretty good. You can also see, if you're looking at what kind of software I'm using, I'm on an iPad. I'm using Procreate. I like the pencil tool that they have. Specifically, I use the Bruni. That's just me. You can do what you want to do. I'm drawing these lines out here so that I can add a circle. We're going to smooth that circle out a little bit. But that circle is going to be the basis for our text box. We want him to say, "Oh, my kidneys," and like really like cough it out of him. And so, yeah, because he jumped off a Gryphon. I mean, look at that jump. That was pretty phenomenal. And so that's what we're working on. The goal here is just going to be to add. We want this to feel high fantasy. It is high fantasy, so that's how it should feel. But in the middle of that, we also want it to have a lot of light and humor and fun. Some kind of blend. The two graphic novels I keep thinking of as I work on this project that I have thoroughly enjoyed are, one, as a child I loved the Bone books, and my wife and I last year actually circled back through and read some of those again. I don't own all of them. I did see one. I used to, right, as a kid, but somewhere between moving from place to place, we've moved a lot, and they disappeared. So I have a couple of them. So we read maybe three. And I did see one at Barnes & Noble. I was like, oh, it'd be so fun to get this. It was a complete one even. But it was all, it was black and white. And that's totally okay. I'm thinking I'm going to make a black and white version of this. Some people love that. I have, manga that way that I really like. Totally okay. For me, though, I grew up reading the Bone books in color. And as a kid, I remember seeing just the amount of, beautiful color they put into those things, and I really want, I'm gonna hold out and see if I can find that. But I think about those books, and I also think about the Adventure Time graphic novels, which I'm going through right now, and there's so much fun in the middle of these high fantasy situations for both of them in different ways. The Bone books, you kind of get some fun through Bone's brothers more than you do. I mean, he's a fun character, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of heaviness there as well. And then obviously Adventure Time is, it's largely fun. Every problem that they face is basically solved by, I don't know, them being a hype squad and doing something goofy and using fake words to mean other things that it doesn't actually mean. But it's a good time. It works for the story. And so here we're going to look at another panel. I realized I kind of went on there for a minute. But this is the panel that follows. He stands up. He says, "Thank you, noble Gryphon." And the Gryphon squawks at him. And then he goes, "Ew." If you want, you can actually see the videos of me making these. At the time of recording, I know I have the one of the knight saying, "Thank you, noble Gryphon," and him being "ew," posted as a single video. You can come draw those with me. Largely because it was a single picture. I really only had to chop off his arms and reposition them and then twist his body just a little bit. And then I know I'm working on, if I haven't already published it, I have to go see the Gryphon as well. He's kind of goofy. I almost want to call him a chicken Gryphon in that, but that wouldn't be accurate to the character as I presently understand him, so I will refrain from doing that. However, there's nothing stopping the comment section from being littered with the word chicken Gryphon. So I'll leave that to you and your devices if you decide to do that. I'm surprised at how much I struggled to remember how you spell the word squawk. I mean, it was a labor of love. Even as I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, that's the wrong version, right? That's not how you spell squawk, right? How do you spell squawk? I'm too embarrassed to even try and do it right now. But anyways, maybe that's how you spell squawk. Maybe it isn't. Neither of us know, right? You don't know either, right? Anyways, this is what we're working on. This is the pictures. It's going pretty well. We're adding some dark lines you can see here just to kind of make the panels stand as single panels better. Largely what I'm doing here is just testing to see if I can create a shake effect so that it looks like he's waving his arm in a meaningful way. I want it to be good. I don't want it to complicate or confuse the picture. Ultimately, I think I'm going to end up leaning out of it and saying, nah, this isn't going to be the thing for me, but I'm going to just show the option just so you guys see kind of what I worked through, what I thought about. If you're drawing along with me, if you want to do this, you're totally welcome to. It's kind of crazy to think, right? Like at the end of this, um, most of you are going to have the option. I mean, all of you are going to have the option to get the graphic novel because we're going to compile it at the end of the year and say, okay, here's the story we created together. But some of you might even have the graphic novel drawn out yourselves, and I would love to see that. That would be amazing. That'd be so cool. Like just to see all these different art styles coming together, right? Like in creating the same work over and over and over again. Pretty cool stuff. So we can see the arm is, shaping up, shaping out here. We've got some shading going on. We've got some lighting going on. We're making it happen. I'm curious what your guys' take on this is. Every time I watch these back, because I make this process and then I voice over it so that I can talk to you guys about it. Yeah, really just I want to focus on the art while I'm doing the art. I'm being careful to show you things as I go, and I'm making notes to myself like, okay, make sure you show them this. But like, I want to be able to talk to you guys as well when I'm talking to you. If you ever try to talk to someone who is also doing something else and they're distracted, I don't want that. I want to be able to talk to you guys, and so there's a huge positive net, I think, for that. But the con is I already know how this is going to end, and so there's a little bit of torture in me when I watch these, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have done it that way. Maybe I should have done this instead, or those kinds of questions pop into my head. Right now I think I'm happy with just the single arm, but let me know, guys, what you think, and yeah, let's chat it up in the comments. Let's figure this bad boy out. Or if I decide to do it with one arm and you're one of the ones who's drawing this thing with me, show me the 3-arm. I think that's so cool to be able to do this with you guys, so I'd love to see that. Adding a swishing effect here just to really try and sell it, trying to make it seem like he doesn't have 3 arms coming out of the same shoulder socket, but that he is in fact waving. Especially as I think back at like older Spider-Man comics I've read, or like Flash comics, when they want to show multiple scenes of the character moving through the same space, so like in a single panel, what they'll do is they'll have one clearly defined version of that character. That's usually like the end point character. That's where the character really is in that panel. And then they will have increasingly faint versions of that character. So if you can imagine like Spider-Man in the bottom right hand corner of the screen crouching, and then just a little bit above him and to the left is a lighter version, a slightly less defined version of him, and he is like jumping down, and so his legs are like above the character, right? And then further behind that is him swinging, and it's just kind of even more faint off a web, right? Or off anything. He's Spider-Man. But that's the kind of arc of motion that they show. And so with these, it's kind of tricky because there's not a clear line of direction. He's going back and forth. I am making them brighter. I'm going to put these lines behind the character's arm as well to show like the movement is not cutting through his arm. It's just what his arm is doing. Yeah, I think ultimately I'm doing a pretty good job at making this. I could see it go either way. You guys will have to let me know what you guys think. I'll dwell on it. I'll stew on it a little bit longer. Obviously, I'm going to keep making panels for us so we have more to discuss, and so we have more story to read, and honestly, just more fantasy things to enjoy together. If you're doing this with me and you're like, I don't want to read. I just want to draw in the corner of my journals, and I want to have fun, and these videos help me do that. I love that. That's awesome. Really, a big hindrance for me to do an art channel was this idea. Like, you go look up art channels, and you're going to see is like some of the most over-the-top things at times, right? Like everyone's got a wheel that they're spinning, which isn't bad. Like that's cool. Maybe I'll get a wheel someday. All these different things. Or you'll see like on the other side of it, like they're using some really cool tools. And I have a cool tool. I'm using an iPad. But I didn't grow up with a cool tool. I don't know how to use I don't know what a gouache is. I'm kind of being facetious. My wife is an artist and she has shown me the gouache. But if you see me paint next to her, it's a very different story. And so it's fun. I like that we can make pencils and colored pencils into something really grand. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.